Hello. Welcome to the Sankofa Ancestor Shrine. Welcome. I am Sacred Woman Practitioner Tatami, your host, and we are going to start off this session with a prayer to the ancestors. We pray that the ancestors take our face, wrap our bodies pure with lace, make us like libations poured in vase to consecrate and bless this place. We pray to you within the night. Let our manifestations take true flight. Are we wrong or are we right? Let our bloodline give us true insight. Take our words and make them right. Let our intentions have inner sight. What inspiring thoughts happen to be, let them be created instantaneously. All right, so I wanted to share, first off, I'll share, this is a free prayer book that we can get from ritualready.com along with the spiritual planner, so check that out. But I wanted to go ahead and do this because I had made a video yesterday, but I really didn't like how it turned out, so I wanted to go ahead and remake that and just go live with you all so we could do it together. So we are going to start off today with just reading a little bit, just a page or so from the Sacred Woman book, and just about why we have the womb circle, and also to give ourselves a little work to do this week. This is partially going to be to, set up our commitment statement or commitment self-ceremony, and yeah, we'll see how we go through it. So I'm on page 34 and 35, I think. No, I think it's mostly just page 34 that we're discussing today. So this does begin with kind of why we have the womb circle, why a womb circle. And she says here, we sit in a womb circle to do our work, to heal our minds, hearts, and wombs, our sacred seat. We gather from all walks of life to heal ourselves and each other, to form circles of love, trust, support, and non-judgment that allow us to share our womb story. Our sacred womb circle offers us the sacred space and time to affirm that we have the power to heal not only ourselves, but each other as well. So, the sacred circle concept allows us to connect with each other, facilitate with each other, feed off each other's, attempts and energy and hopes and pushing forward perseverance. She notes that we will find ways that help us to love, pamper, heal, support ourselves. We teach each other how to forgive and let go of our past hurts, how to raise our children constructively, how to love our present mates. We inspire one another to restore our divine womb life. We meditate, pray, do journal work, make music, sing songs, dance. We read our own and others' healing poems. We study the principles of the sacred womb, work together, learn which foods and herbs nurture our wombs and our nerves. We learn that a woman's body temple must be kept pure and clean, for as she transforms her womb, she elevates herself to enter a special sacred state of wholeness. So this, I think, is so important to note because we are gaining a bunch of skills and having a bunch of conversations. And some of these may be goals that we have somewhere in the future, maybe not something we're focusing on now. But as we look at each other working through all of the different goals and trauma and maybe just trying to build foundations that people do, we'll be able to also find ways to rework those tools to work for us in our separate situations. We pray for health, love, abundance, blessings, and good vibes for each of us until we meet again. We are everything and all things in this circle of healing, sister to sister. And she knows that this is something that is done all over the world. It's also something that has a long history. You know, those red tents and other variations around the world have always been something that women and women folk, you know, have really gotten into. So let's see. The we did already talk about taking note of what we want to do for ourselves, but I do want us to take the time to either write down in your journal, which I have somewhere. So I actually, my goodness, my kids dropped mine down behind the desk. It's all dusty. Okay, so mine I ended up, you know, doing some art inside of to try and make it a little more inspiring as I work inside of it. And, you know, choose a page and, you know, do this commitment statement. Maybe just say it out loud. Maybe speak it as a prayer over your water. And pour it over your head as, you know, a way of consecrating yourself with like a libation or a sacred bath. However you want to do it, that's kind of what we're doing this week, along with something else that's a little more nature based. So it says, I commit myself to the sisters of my sacred circle and to the divine guardians, ancestors, and elders to heal myself by taking responsibility for my womb wellness. I commit to weekly participation in the sacred circle and to stay focused on my mission to heal myself. I will be mindful of the distractions and challenges around me and the denial and rationalizations arising within me that will inevitably attempt to deter me from my course. I will stay strong and steadfast in the company of my sisters because I know there is unity, power, and divinity in a holy and healthy womb. So you would name and date that, or, you know, say a prayer perhaps on top of that and consecrate yourself, or write it down in your journal to that you're making your writing. And also feel free to, you know, use more art and less writing if that's really what you're into. There's so many ways to do that. All right, so tomorrow on Wednesday we'll do a bit of a smoke cleansing type of musical thing, and do the womb circle prayer together. That's on page 35. But I also, once we get that kind of ritual of consecrating ourselves and committing ourselves to the circle, I do have a little bit to show out of this book. Now it does start, this book is about sketching in nature by the Sierra Club, and or Kathy Johnson of the Sierra Club, and it starts off with about tools, but this part I think shouldn't be what catches up us up. Just use what tools you have in your house, whatever cheap watercolors you have. Mine are pretty cheap. Let's see. Oh, my light is one of those touch base. Mine are pretty cheap. You know, it is what it is. I also have like pens, pencils. I have some drawing pencils that I used and got a while back. So, you know, there are different ways to really connect with the art and just use what you have, or what you can cheaply afford to get at this time, if you cannot afford to be getting yourself like a mini travel watercolor set or something of that nature. But what I want us to have the goal of this week is to go out in nature and find something small, something, you know, maybe bigger or smaller. Excuse this from my kids. But, you know, find something that is small, accessible, close. It could be looking out your window if the weather isn't that great, or if you aren't able to go out, or you can't trust it right now, or you're in a situation where you need to like stay low. Maybe watch a video on YouTube, maybe one that has a stagnant picture, and just listen to the music and sketch what you see there, and find a way to connect with Mother Nature. Pray before you do it. Say this is what you're doing, is trying to connect with Mother Nature. And I think that, you know, don't worry about it looking good. That's something that comes with practice. But, you know, you'll be amazed at how just looking at the shape of something and connecting with it, and really meditating on what you are drawing. If you're drawing a tree, meditate on what that means symbolically to you, what that means spiritually to you, how this part of Mother Nature is connecting with you in a spiritual way. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week. That's what you can be doing. And I think we can use this week to, through the commitment little ceremony we're going to be doing, either you're going to write that in your journal or you're going to do that with, a sacred bath or smoke cleansing. And we're going to be doing a smoke cleansing tomorrow, like I said, for the womb movement. Wednesday, kind of like more of a womb meditation, maybe. I'm not sure yet exactly, but we'll do the prayer and stuff. So go find some kind of something in your home, and then either be able to go outside is the preference, but find something, maybe a picture, maybe just a video, put it on the biggest screen in your house, and just have that nature image be playing with some meditation music or something, and find some way to connect with Mama Nature this week. Find some way to connect with Mother Nature in a way that's inspiring as we start. It doesn't have to necessarily be like, let's just jump off with recycling and all the ways you can be reducing. Like right off the bat, let's just find those ways that really spark interest and spark inspiration to connect with Mother Earth. All right, so I think that was all I was going to say for today. Oh, I did want to read a little bit out of, just dropped my Marie Kondo. I did want to read a little bit out of my Book of the Dead, just because I think it's really beautiful to read and hear the language, as well as for us to be able to, be inspired to apply some of what they're doing in this to our lives. So I had just opened up to plate 30A, and it says, this is the chapter for entering into the hall of the two truths, and a chapter of praising Osiris, foremost of the Westerners. It says, words spoken by the Osiris scribe Ani, the vindicated. I have come here in order to see your beauty, my two arms raised in exaltation to your real name. I've come here before the fir tree came into being and the acacia was born, before the earth created the tamarisks. If I enter the sacred place, I shall speak with Seth, and I shall be friendly with the one who approaches me. The one whose face is veiled falls because of the secret things. He enters into the house of Osiris, and he sees the secrets which are therein. The councils of the portals are the blessed dead. So this first part I think is really amazing, just because they do have that kind of reference to the tree symbolism that we've talked about before last year. And also it's just a reminder of the general reverence that we should be having when we approach our ancestors, our altar, the way we're creating and making things, and making a bowl for our ancestors even, and also that approaching of the ancestors who are clearly good spirits that we're trying to connect with. I think that reverence and respectful approach is something that we can remember. So they also say, words spoken by Anubis in the presence of his entourage. A man has come from Egypt who knows our roads and our towns, and I am satisfied with him. I smell his odor as belonging to one among you. He has said to me, I am the Osiris scribe Ani, the vindicated in peace and in vindication. I've come here to see the great gods, and so that I might live upon the offerings which are their victuals, while I am the limits of the ram, the lord of Mendes. He allows me to fly up as a Bennu bird at my saying so when I am in the river. I make a presentation of incense, and I conduct myself in the kilt to the children, while I am in Elephantine in the house of Sadis. I've sunk the bark of the enemies. I have crossed over to the pool in the Neshmet bark. I have seen the nobles of Athribis while I was in Busiris, whom I have silenced. I've caused that the god have power over his two legs while I was in the house of he who is upon his mountain, Anubis. I have seen the one preeminent of the embalming tent. I have entered into the house of Osiris. I have stripped of the bag wigs of those who are yonder. I have entered into Resetju, and I've seen the secrets which are therein. I've hidden the one whom I found missing. I've descended to Narif, and I have clothed the one who was there naked. I've given incense to the woman in the retinue of the commoners. So I think that this was actually such an interesting thing to read, because first off, it did talk about some of the physical work that kind of goes into when you're talking to your deity, your ancestors, your gods, however this works for you. And there is that physical labor, that physical physical work, that physical volunteering, or, doing of the sacred baths or smoke cleansing that goes into it. And then there's also the recognition of those times where you have been powerful, where your ancestors have backed you, and remembering to invoke that and call back upon that strength and that memory, and remembering that you're not alone. I think that those are all really, that was just such an interesting, prayer to read about. Okay, so it concludes, "Behold, these things have been told to me concerning the one to whom I shall speak when he shall be weighed in our midst. Then shall say the majesty of Anubis concerning this, Do you know the name of this gateway, as many say to me? Then the Osiris, the Scribani, the vindicated shall say, In peace and vindication, you dispel light is the name of this gate. Then shall say the majesty of Anubis, Do you know the names of the upper and lower portions of the door? Lord of the truth, master of his two legs is the name of the upper portion, and Lord of the strength, the one who commands the cattle, is the name of the lower. Pass you on then, for you know Osiris, scribe of the accounting of the divine offerings of all the gods of Thebes, Ani, the vindicated, possessor of reverence." Wow. Okay, so this part is really cool because I think I kind of read that as knowing where you are in your journey, knowing where you are with what you're working for, and being able to really understand where you are in your journey, where you are with your communications. That is kind of like what Queen Afua calls staying in your center, and, being in this space, in this moment right now, in control, and not like, totally being pulled in all directions. So I think that that's why we can really take an inspiration from this passage today, is just that thought, especially about that's where we are in this journey, is naming where we are. So if we aren't able to name right now, that should be something that's in the forefront of our minds, is exactly where we are and where we're hoping to go through our connections and our journey. So anyways, we're going to read from this occasionally, just because I do want to keep that alive, and I do think it's a wonderful just resource for gaining language and thoughts and inspiration. And, our West African ancestors, I mean, the Adinkra symbols didn't originally start as something that everybody used, right? That was once something that a specific tribe's king wore, and once they were conquered, our ancestors started using them and have used them for hundreds of years. And they also used things from the Greeks and and Islam. There were just symbolisms that have caught on. So I think learning from other cultures and implementing them and growing with them is something that we can absolutely do with each other, especially now that we're in the diaspora and the disruption of a lot of what we were originally doing back then. All right. That is all I had to go over for today. I'm so excited to continue this journey with you all, and I will actually see you tomorrow for the Womb Movement Wednesday session. So I'm really excited about that because we're doing the smoke cleansing. And yes, may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I will see you next time.